Sports Dan coming from my living room to your living room as we're late in the season here. We're looking to have a finale where we'll do it in the studio, and that'll be big. But we had some swim and dive highlights to get to wrap up the fall season. A lot of our teams wrapping up the seasons already. There's some state tournaments in various sports still going on, some finishing up. But we've got our squads, all three of them, Spring Lake Park, Blaine, and Centennial, involved in section tournament swim and dive. And we will also have parts of our squads headed on to the state tournament level as well. So let's get into it with the swim and dive section finals here for 5-2A. Starts it off. That's where the Spring Lake Park Panthers live, and that's where the Wayzata Trojans were a dominant force throughout this entire tournament. Starting with that 200-yard medley, it was Wayzata that got the victory. Spring Lake Park, though, with Lindquist, King, Roseboro, and Erdahl finishing third place with a great time there of 156.98. 200-yard freestyle. Wayzata takes the top three spots in that one to dominate a bit there. Ninth place for Kylie Nordenstrom for the Spring Lake Park Panthers. 200 individual medley relay. Maple Grove, a top finisher with Libby Bacher. The Wayzata Trojans took the next four spots. The butterfly, the 100 fly, that one as the Wayzata Trojans took the top spot with Claire Renke. Spring Lake Park taking 8th with Carly Lindquist. The 100-yard freestyle, that's Bacher again for Maple Grove. Wayzata taking the next three. Megan Erdahl finishes as the top finisher for Spring Lake Park. On to the 500 freestyle, that was Erica Schraber finishing in the top spot for Wayzata. The Spring Lake Park Panthers took 6th with Kylie Nordenstrom with a time of 5:34.48. The 200-yard freestyle relay, Wayzata again they dominated like we told you. Spring Lake Park, though, top 5 finish as a team with Erdahl, Lindquist, King, and Kostenbach finishing with a time of 1:43.77 in the relay. 100-yard backstroke, Wayzata the top 4 spots. Linnea Calebo, Spring Lake Park's Lindquist, taking 6th in the backstroke. The breaststroke, the 100-yard breaststroke, Nora Rave for Wayzata finishes first. Spring Lake Park with a 4th place finish, courtesy of Kristen King. Diving at 5-2A, 2 Spring Lake Park divers with success throughout the event, and finishing up in 8th place, Ellis Rotzenberg, just an 8th grader with a final score of 284.25, and then Brenna York, a 10th grader, finishing with a final score of 248.60, which was quite a bit higher than her semifinal score of 183.60, so 248.60, a tremendous improvement there. Kira Reitz of Wayzata, a junior, she takes the top spot and the top finisher in the section with a final score of 383.20. That's just better than Irondale freshman Lulu Simakula, who finished with a final score of 381.35. But Reitz takes the top spot. Rotzenberg and York finish 8th and 10th, respectively, for the Spring Lake Park Panthers in 5-2A diving. Back into the pool for the swimming, this time at Section 7, Cougars and Bengals. Wayzata was the dominant force in 5-2A. Well, it was the Bengals who would find their way to some dominance in this one. Andover gets the first win of the day, though, in the 200-yard medley relay. Blaine takes second. The team of Ryan Schrank, and Stadden getting the second place and a state qualifying time of 1:47.51. The 200-yard freestyle, Blaine, their first top finish. Maddie Schrank got it done. She'll go to state. The sophomore with a time of 1:53.81. Also, a 4th place finish for Gabby Bush in that one, with the top spot to Maddie Schrank in the 200-yard freestyle. Nevaeh Miller finished 7th, just a 9th grader as well, with a strong finish. 200-yard individual medley, Grace Rav of Andover takes the top spot, but Addison Stadden, the 2nd place spot, just 8 seconds off the pace, 2:10.59. The 50 free, that quick as a wink race, that goes to Allison Schrank, the senior. She'll qualify for state with a time of 23 seconds, .78. That gets her into the state tournament and a championship at Section 7. The 100 butterfly, Maddie Schrank again. She'll go back to the state tournament with that qualifying time of 57.12, just by less than 0.5 of a second, edging out Ella Hacker. They'll both go to the state tournament, though. Hacker out of Coon Rapids takes second. They will both swim in that 100 fly at the state level. On to the 100-yard freestyle in 7-2A. Hannah Ryan of Blaine, Addison Stadden of Blaine, Callie Stark of Blaine. But what do they have in common? They all finish 1, 2, and 3 in this 100-yard free. Ryan takes the top spot with the best time of 53.98. 54.08 for Staden, 55.17 for Callie Stark. On to the 500 free. Talia Dalton of Andover takes the win in that one. Gabby Bush, though, swims strong. The 9th grader had a great section tournament going third, or great section finals there, going third in the 500 free with a time of 5:35.23. The 200-yard freestyle relay. Blaine takes the top spot again with a time of 1:40.40. Thompson, Stark, Leo, and Clark swimming that one. Bengals, or rather Cougars of Centennial, taking 6th in that event as well, the 200-yard freestyle relay, but the Bengals racking up another victory as they will be at the podium and keep moving on with continuing to get some of these relay teams on. Congrats to Thompson, Clark, Leo, and Stark, Callie, Sophia, Megan, and Maria of the Blaine Bengals. That moves us to the 100-yard backstroke in 7-2A. All kinds of smiles all around. The 100-yard backstroke, Grace Rabb. She's been one of the top swimmers in the section for Andover all year. She'll qualify for state. So does Allison Schrank of Blaine, the senior, with a time of 55.99. Kalakamish came in third for the Cougars, just off the pace. 06 off the pace to go to state. 100-yard breaststroke. Top spot for Andover's Kate Pulaski. Blaine's Hannah Ryan, though, comes in third with a time of 1:08.08. The 400 freestyle relay. Blaine with a top spot again. Staden, Ryan, Schrank, and Schrank, time of 3:32.92, and they will qualify for the state tournament. Cougars finish fourth with their relay team of Rucksager, Roebuck, Kager, and Kamish. Bengals take the meet. 491 their total points. Centennial in fourth with 300 total points in 7-2A. The diving in 7-2A. We'll catch up with some of those swimmers here in a moment, but the diving first. Well, that's where the Cougars went to shine. 2 Cougar divers will move on from the sections to the state tournament. Catherine Wolfel, Kate Wolfel, a 9th grader with a finals score of 3:59 even. And also she'll be joined at the state tournament by Riley McCullough of Centennial, 3:19.85. Those two will represent the Cougars. Maddie Hayter, by the way, finished 7th for Centennial. She finished up with a score of 2:64.60 for the Cougars. And then the Bengals top diver, Erin Loegi, a 16th place finish at the section tournament, 2:37.70 for the Bengals. So it was the dive portion where the Cougars really shone, thanks to Wolfel, the 9th grader, and McCullough, the 11th grader, taking the 4th spot in the Section 7 2A championship. So we got a chance to catch up with some of the victorious Bengals after this meet.
How did it feel to win today? Honestly, it felt amazing. All the girls put in their hard work, and I think that's the result of it. I'm just super proud of all of our girls.
Yeah, this is our 5th time winning sections in a row, so I'm really proud of all of our girls, how much dedication they put into the sport, and we clearly got a really good outcome from it.
Amazing. How did it feel to go to state? Honestly, a little nervous, but I'm sure I'll do great because I've practiced hard on all of the girls. I think everybody's just super excited to compete and swim fast.
Yeah, I'm very excited for state, also very nervous because it's a pretty big level, and yeah, we're just so pumped for it.
Congratulations to the Blaine Bengals as a team taking the section championship. You see their finishes: first place in 2 big relays. That's going to go a long way to winning an overall meet. Second place in the 200 medley. Maddie Schrank with a big day. Addison Staden as well. Allison Schrank, big day. Erin Loegi on diving, we mentioned as their top diver. And Hannah Ryan and Gabby Bush, some big-time finishes as well. A lot of young swimmers and divers in there too for the Bengals. So not only picking up that section championship as a team, but some big time future stuff on the way. Same thing for the Cougars. They had a couple of top 5 finishes. You look at Raylan Robeck, 5th place in the individual medley relay, or excuse me, in the individual medley. Jaden Rucksager, the 50 free, took 5th place. 200 medley relay team, a 4th place finish. The 400 free team, a 4th place finish. And a lot of these very, very close to potentially getting into that top 2 and potentially into the state tournament. Kalakamish with a couple of top 5 finishes as well. But of course, the divers right there in the middle, Catherine Wolfel and Riley McCullough, 1st place, 4th place, and moving on to state for the Cougars. You look at the Spring Lake Park Panthers, same story. The 200 medley relay, a 3rd place finish there. Top 5 finishes for the 200 and 400 yard free. Kylie Nordenstrom with the big meet as well, finishing top 10 in a couple of different races, the 200 and the 500 free. 4th place finish for Kirsten King in the 100 backstroke, top 10 as well in the 50 free. And then diving represented well with Rotzenberg and York, finishing both in the top 10. Carly Lindquist, couple of top 10 finishes, as did Megan Erdahl for the Spring Lake Park Panthers. So out of the sections, here's what you got for the qualifiers on the state tournament side of things. Bengals with the swimmers, Schrank, 200 free and 100 butterfly for Maddie, 50 free and 100 back for Allison. Addison Stadden with the 200 IM and the 100 freestyle. Hannah Ryan with the 100 free. And then the Bengals get 2 relays with some of those names mixed in there as well, the 200 and the 400. And then it's Riley and Kate on the diving side. November 19th and 20th, swim and dive state tournament. So mark that down, coming up at the end of the week, Friday and Saturday at the Aquatic Center at the U of M, where they'll put it all on the line again. And here on SportsCenter, happy to be joined this late in the season by a couple of state qualifiers from Centennial Swim and Dive. 2 divers headed to the state tournament for the Cougars, Kate Wolfel and Riley McCullough. Congratulations, first of all. Long season, a lot of hard work goes into that. Kate, we'll start with you, taking 1st place in the section championships. What's it mean to be able to continue the season on now at the state level?
Oh, it's everything. The first original goal was to just do well throughout the season and compete your best in your most spectacular dives that you've ever done at sections in the hopes of going to state. And it really means everything to me, especially that Riley made it as well and that we got that top 4, so we can continue on practicing and making more kind of team memories as we do this final week for state.
And Riley, what about you? When the scores shook out and everything was final with that section championship and you knew you were going to go to state, what were the thoughts, what were the feelings that once you knew you had that ticket punched?
It was a sigh of relief because it was down to the last few dives to make it to state, and I pulled through luckily, and it was just a really great feeling to know I made it. I worked this hard throughout the whole season, and I made it to state, so.
Nobody's going to take that away from you. Can you take us inside what it's like a little bit there, Riley, knowing that most of us haven't experienced that, right? While you're competing, you're focused on what you're trying to do. You can't really do anything else about the other people's scores. There's no defense you can play in diving at that point. What does your mindset have to be as you have your own goals and you know that you want to finish in that top 4? What does your mindset have to be as you do come down the stretch and you know just in the back of your mind things are close?
Well, yeah, I knew I could only control myself. I couldn't control her, and just to do what I know how to do. That's the only thing I could do. I can't change anything. I have the muscle memory. I've trained all season for this. It just do what you know how to do, and if you make it, then it was worth it.
Kate, can you walk us through your season a little bit? Obviously finishing in the tops of the sections there and now going on to state, still some unfinished business there. But what was this season like for you? What are the memories you're going to take away to this point from this 2021 dive season?
The season started out kind of rocky, honestly, and in my brain I was okay with that because last season it was a shorter season, but it started out fantastic. So in my brain it was like, oh, I can get better from here. The meets have been kind of ups and downs with based off of like what my dives are and how I'm feeling mentally. And diving is such a huge mental sport that even if you're a little bit off one day, it can really affect you. So throughout the season, it was just really focusing on like my mental capability because I already know how to do my dives. So the season went pretty good for that wise. And now that we're on to state, it's just focusing on my mental state and figuring out how to keep diving. And then some of my memories is just honestly hanging around with my diving friends and all like our car trips, going to Hobby Lobby, honestly, singing in the car, doing like fun, silly, little goofy team things that we would never normally get to do, that we just kind of hang around, build like a team bond. And I love those moments. They'll forever be with me.
I think a lot of teams can have those moments, but we don't always get to see them. I feel like in the times we've covered swim and dive, it's so important when you're in the meet, everybody's supporting everybody on the pool deck that's in the pool or on the board. And I wanted to touch on that with your team in particular. Riley, what's that like as a diver? You guys are kind of sectioned off, right? When you get to the diving portion of the meet, all eyes are on that. What's it like to have that support of your teammates, not just the other divers, but also the rest of the swimmers as well?
Well, the way our pool is set up is the whole team gathers around the diving well and where we are. And before every one of our dives, they have their own little cheer that they do. And they cheer every time, after every dive. And it's just good to know that we have their support and that they care and watch our dives. And it's good to know that we come together as a team.
Kate, you've got that support that Riley was just talking about. You know it's always there. They're loud and they're supportive when you're diving. What makes Cougar Swim and Dive, whether it's in those moments or other moments, what makes Cougar Swim and Dive so special?
It's really just how we create a family bond in like the little team, whereas it's just us divers or if it's the whole swim and dive team. You could be having a horrible day and you walk into practice and you know that those people will be there to support you and challenge you and tell you to, go for it, or acknowledge that you're having a bad day. You walk into practice, you just be like, guys, it's I don't feel like practice is going to go good today. And they're like, no, don't think like that. Or you walk over to one of the swimmers and they're like, hey, how have you been? Like everyone's just friendly. And I feel like Cougar Swim and Dive is just the whole family aspect of the team. It's just such a sweet like environment to be around and be in and be part of, as I love it.
Now, I want to talk to you both, obviously, about your expectations and what it's going to take at the state level. But you both have time ahead of you next fall as well, coming back to be a part of this Cougar Swim and Dive thing. All of these swim and dive team, rather, all things being equal. When you look ahead to what this program can do, obviously as a team, finishing in the top four there in the sections as well, what excites you? Riley, we'll start with you. What excites you about coming back again in future years about this swim and dive team for Centennial?
I'm excited just to see within the divers and on the swim part the growth between every athlete, whether that's on the pool or just in their everyday lives. Excited to see where they're going to go. And I hope that this sport can influence them and take them different places in life.
And Kate, what about you? What excites you when you look ahead to the future of Cougar Swim and Dive?
I'm excited for not only how much have we grown as a team, but how much we like grow individually, and the fact that we have a very like family kind of structure with the team, like I was saying, and that when we start out in the beginning of the season, we kind of like ease into all of our like fun team events, but next season we were talking about just like going straight for it and like bonding right away. And I feel like that's such a fun thing and like essential thing to have, is that like bonding that everyone has in the team. And then I'm also super excited for obviously like our individual performances and how much like we've improved, and be like, oh yeah, you improved a lot. And then like we just see how much of a team and an individual aspect that includes.
Did you guys both start out knowing that you wanted to go the diving route? I mean, I'm sure that can be different for a lot of different divers. Did you guys both know, zeroing in from the start, that, hey, I want to get up on the board, that's what I want to do as part of this team? No? What did you start out thinking you would do, Kate?
Well, honestly, I didn't even start about thinking about diving. Like I started with gymnastics ever since I was
Okay.
little, and that's honestly my diving a lot. But I was just like, because I decided to quit gymnastics, my mom was like, "Hey, there's this sport that's really similar to gymnastics. It's called diving." And so I tried it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." So I guess from the beginning of diving, I knew that's what I wanted to do, but definitely not from the start of any sports that I've done.
Riley, what about you?
I'm in the same boat there with Kate. I've been doing gymnastics my whole life. I've been doing it for 14 years now, and I was told I have to do a high school sport, and I thought, well, I love gymnastics. Dive is a close second there, so, and I've loved it ever since.
All right, let's talk about the state tournament now. You guys, you make it there. There's all that excitement, but talking with both of you, I know that you have high expectations for yourself and a lot of confidence in yourselves and what you can go do. Kate, we'll start with you. What do you think your key is, and what's the something that you're going to be very focused on when you go in and try to execute your dives at the state level?
I'm definitely going to have to be focused on the one dive at a time mantra. The you do as well and as best as you can on this one dive. And if it first doesn't go your way, don't even think about it. You can't do anything with the pass. And then if it does go your way, pull that like excitement and like use that like for to fuel your next dive and so on. And then I just need to think like the one dive at a time. You can't change anything about anybody else's dives, so I just have to focus on me.
Riley, what about you? What are you going to be zeroed in on? What are your expectations for going to the state level now?
I think one thing that really helps me and calms my nerves is that I know how to do. There's nothing I can do about that. So, like Kate said, take it one dive at a time. If one dive doesn't go how you think it was supposed to, it already happened. Nothing you can do about it. Move on. Focus on the next dive. It already happened, and just have fun with it too. I can't let your brain overtake what your body can do.
Just talking to you two, I mean, that's just a good outlook on life, right? You can't do anything about the past. You got to move on. So I've got two girls, and I'm thinking they might have to end up in diving as well, so they can get that well-rounded mentality as they attack the rest of their lives too. So you've inspired that in me at least. I like to end these by kind of giving you guys a chance to give a shout out to anybody out there that supports you. I know nobody does all this alone. You got a lot of people behind you. So Kate, we'll start with you. Any shout outs you want to give or thank yous for the season as you head off to state?
I want to give a shout out to our diving coach, Beth Manson. She is the best thing that has ever happened for me, and she encourages me in so many different ways. I also want to give a shout out to my mom. She also encourages me, and she's like, "No, you got this. You just have to think about it this way." And I guess really the whole team, diving team and swimming team, but especially the diving team because of the family aspect and that the fact that we push each other, challenge each other, have fun with each other. So those people probably.
Riley, what about you?
Of course, Beth Manson. She must be doing something right if two of her divers are going to state. I would not be where I am without her. Of course, my parents are always supportive of me and just cheering me on, encouraging me at everything I do. And of course, the team. I would not be able to get through practice every day with if I didn't have them. They definitely make it a more fun environment to be in.
Well, Kate and Riley, we wish you the best of luck at state. Congratulations on everything you already did. A great fall season for you, and we'll see plenty more from you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Kate and Riley for joining us on the show too. Exciting times for all our swim and divers, and I just love the mentality that they've got going in. And sky's the limit, certainly, for what they can do. We mentioned off the top of the show some of the state tournaments already getting wrapped up. Football moving on as well to those big games near the end. Semifinal action at US Bank Stadium. You look at the 6A bracket. Well, some familiar names going down in there. Eden Prairie edges Farmington, who's the upstart team. They'll face Maple Grove, who got past Woodbury, a team we saw on our airwaves. St. Michael Albertville, who just barely survived the Cougars a couple of weeks ago. They beat Wayzata. They move on to the semifinals. Lakeville South odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. They beat Shakopee, a good team, 42-28. They will take on St. Michael Albertville. Semifinals, US Bank Stadium, coming up Thursday and Friday. We go down to 5A, Robbinsdale Cooper. They get past Alexandria Matamidi. They knock off the 1 seed Rochester Mayo, so they will square off. Cooper finally got past basically their section tournament. Now they're making a big-time run. They're at the bank. Rogers and Mankato West, as Mankato West knocks off St. Thomas Academy, and Rogers just passed Andover 21-20 to punch their ticket to the semifinals. Down in 4A, Becker Bulldogs 24-7 over Holy Angels. They'll take on Casson Manorville, who knocked off Fridley 42-7. Orono 22-19. Blythe will be happy as they'll take on Hutchinson 40-0. Hutchinson beats Simley to move on to the semifinals and take on Orono. 3A, as we continue moving on. Annandale 27-18, they beat Dilworth, Glendon, Felton. Now they get another three-pronged attack of Plainville, Elgin, Millville, who beat Breck 37-14. Esco beats New London Spicer to move on, and they'll take on Dassel Cokato, who handled Fairmont, but a one-possession game. Esco punching that ticket to the semifinals over in LS. From 3A to 2A, Barnesville over Eden Valley Watkins to move on. Chatfield beats Minneapolis North Community handily by 30, putting up 50 in that quarterfinal matchup. West Central Ashby will face Maple River, who beat Pipestone 39-20, but that West Central area Ashby matchup over Moose Lake Willow River 14-6. And they punched that ticket into the semifinals. Class A, not done yet. Don't forget about 9-man. That's coming up. As the Rushford-Peterson knocking off Belgrade Brute and El Rosa will take on Minneota. New York Mills takes on Mayor Lutheran. Mayor Lutheran and Minneota, by the way, they're going to come up in the next set of brackets, too, with volleyball. So it's been a very, very successful fall for those two Class A teams. All right, there it is, 9-man. You've been waiting on it. There it is. Kitson County Central. Leroy Ostrander. Not a guy, just a school. Leroy Ostrander. 57-26. They beat Wheaton Herman Norcross. Also not a guy. Fertile Beltrami will take on Hills Beaver Creek. All those trying to get to the 10 a.m. championship of 9-man at US Bank Stadium on the 27th. Good luck to all those football teams. The pinnacle of what they've been looking for. Volleyball, Class 4A, that went to Wyzetta. The Trojans beat Eastridge 3-1 after they got past Rogers and Roseville area. Eden Prairie falls to Eastridge in the semifinals after Eastridge beat Bloomington Jefferson in the first round. Trojans get the 4A championship in volleyball. 3A for volleyball. Down at the X, Marshall, Overcast, and Manorville 3-0 as they go 3-0 all the way through for the Tigers, beating St. Paul Highland and Grand Rapids. Cass and Manorville a good long run as that comes one game short and they'll be runners-up. Class 2A for volleyball. That's where Jackson County Central fell to Sauk Center. That was the upset bracket. The 1 and 2 seeds in that bracket fell in the first round. So Jackson County Central, the 4 seed, Sauk Center, the 3 seed, went to the finals, and Sauk Center gets them 3-1. And then Class A, there it is. Mayor Lutheran, Minneota meeting in the championship, and Mayor Lutheran over Minneota 3-0, knocking off the 2-time defending state champs in Minneota. Those your Class A brackets for volleyball. So champions crowned in volleyball, champions crowned in soccer, champions soon to be crowned in football, and of course, as we heard from our swimmers and divers, champions to be crowned in swimming and diving. When you get to that time of year, you know that it's also time for Sports Den finales, and that is the plan for next week. Big Sports Den finale live at 7 next week, November the 22nd. So mark your calendars. I know you're always ready to watch Sports Den live at 10. We'll go live at 7, get some athlete guests, get the story behind the scenes of these successful seasons for our teams. Hope you can join us for that. No game coverage for us because that's where we are, but certainly we'll get what we can from those swim and dive and have the reaction to that and have a lot of fun on our finale next week. NorthMetroTV.com, though, to watch anything back that we've covered from this past season. YouTube page fully populated as well. And don't forget to follow us on social media, North Metro TV, North Metro TV Sports on Facebook and Twitter. I'm JW Cox. Thanks so much for joining us. Again, my living room to yours. Appreciate it. Go out and support your team when you get the chance next. great memories all fall for the Bengals, for the Panthers, for the Cougars. Go everybody. Have a great night.